Tonight, users call it the study drug, but misused, it can become addictive and even deadly.
Plus, a dozen cases of whooping cough at one school, how you can prevent the disease from spreading.
And residents near Arkansas Baptist College say the school not doing enough about security. THV 11 News starts right now.
Now, the difference in news and information. 11 on 11, the THV 10 o'clock difference.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this Tuesday evening. I'm Liz Massey.
And I'm Craig O'Neill. This is THV 11 News. And first tonight, it is known as the study drug, thought by many to give that extra edge needed on college campuses. For some on the job, the boost needed to compete. But misused, the effects can be deadly. In tonight's THV Extra, Daniel Wilkerson takes a look at the trends of addiction associated with Adderall. Life after an addiction and why it's such a sought-after narcotic. Daniel?
That's right, Craig. Good evening, Craig. Good evening to you at home. Adderall is used to treat ADHD. It's so addictive, users describe it as a pill form of methamphetamine. Psychotherapists tell me scheming parents bring their children in with prepared scripts citing verbatim symptoms, demanding doctors prescribe it. It's been a long road for Gina Washam.
It just took over. It took over my life.
Washam says a doctor prescribed her Adderall, a controlled substance designed for people with ADHD and attention deficit disorder.
I just had a hard time focusing because of my ADD.
And so she started taking the medicine first as prescribed.
I noticed that they gave me energy.
So she took more and more in between the prescribed times.
It just started escalating from there.
Sometimes, however, people will use it for other reasons.
Dr. Scott Hogan is a medical doctor who runs a psychiatric practice in Little Rock. He says many are introduced to Adderall in college to perform better on tests. Others take it to perform better at work.
They feel sometimes the pressure to compete and be more alert and aware at work.
But here lies the danger. Dr. Hogan says in Adderall, some of the same ingredients used to make methamphetamines, some of the most addictive drugs around.
They're extremely similar, very close.
It was pretty much like methamphetamine in a bottle.
And that's exactly where misuse would take Washam.
When I would run out of Adderall, I would start drug-seeking other types of drugs, whether they were opiates.
Her addiction now calling for more than her prescription. Washam turns to buying the Adderall and other drugs on the street. Dr. Hogan says this is when the scheming to get more begins.
You can get online, unfortunately, and sometimes without a prescription, get Adderall shipped directly to your house.
The doctor says oftentimes parents come to his office claiming their kids are ADHD.
We get information from the teachers that are doing well, have straight A's, yet the parent insists that they have ADHD.
The parent trying to secure drugs for themselves, Dr. Hogan says, quote verbatim, the symptoms of ADHD. But he says it's the responsibility of doctors to look for the signs of abuse and keep strict records, tracking the frequency of prescriptions.
And if I have a parent that comes in that appears to be either under the influence or look like they demonstrate symptoms or signs of methamphetamine addiction or Adderall addiction,
he says they intervene even to the point of notifying authorities. Lisa K. Ray is a drug and alcohol counselor who runs her own counseling practice. She says oftentimes friends and family are the first to notice that something just isn't right.
There's going to be a strain on relationships. It just happens.
She says part of the addiction process involves deception.
Lying and sneaking around and doing things that are, at least against the rules, possibly against the law.
Ray says although addiction from Adderall or any drug is tough to shake, recovery is possible. And as of Tuesday, it's been 19 months since Washam touched a drug.
It was hard at first, but I went and got a lot of 12-step help.
She maintains she'll always be an addict, but she says just for today, she's a recovering addict. Instead of wanting to die, she wants to live and is excited about where this thing called life will take her. Now, Dr. Hogan says there are substitutes to Adderall that are non-narcotic, meaning they are not habit-forming. He says while they are effective, it depends greatly on the patient. Some react better to stimulants, while others to non-narcotic drugs. Craig.
All right, Daniel, thank you. If you become addicted to Adderall or any other narcotics, there is help available. We've posted resources and the entire interview from Dr. Hogan, Lisa K. Ray, and Gina Washam online. Just go to our website, today'sthv.com.
Arkansas's weatherman Ed Buckner joins us now with the first look at your forecast, Ed.
Temperatures are falling fast out there. Even though there are a few high clouds around, the air is still dry. The high pressure is building in, hasn't budged a bit, and of course the winds are still pretty calm and the air is dry, as I mentioned. Here's a look at the satellite perspective. You can see what I'm talking about. These high clouds moving overhead, not really thick enough to kind of keep the warming at the surface of the earth. So there's still enough radiational cooling out there where I think we're going to see another cool night ahead of us. Lows today, a very chilly start. We did see our first freeze earlier this morning in Little Rock. 32 was our low. It was 22 in Fayetteville and 26 in DeQueen and Arkadelphia, 28 in Camden, 32 in Monticello. You saw a freeze as well. Tonight we'll be very close to that number again. 33, what I'm going with at the airport, and 58, your high temperature tomorrow. Still well below normal. Details on maybe some 60s and maybe some rain in your extended outlook coming up.
New tonight, a serious and sometimes fatal disease is confirmed in Clinton. The Arkansas Health Department is investigating a dozen cases of whooping cough. THV 11's Pam Bacom joining us live in the Information Center with details tonight. Pam.
Well, Liz, the health department says it is working with doctors in Van Buren County to vaccinate children and their parents. Now, we couldn't get a comment from the Clinton School District, but wanted to see what's the best way to prevent the disease from spreading. So we talked to a Pulaski County school nurse.
Surrounded by students every day, Mills High School nurse Ray Rice makes sure to keep her hands germ-free.
We encourage good hand washing with soap and water, and we also keep hand sanitizer.
It can also help prevent the spread of disease like whooping cough, also known as pertussis. Dr. Gary Wheeler with the Arkansas Health Department says it's threatening students in the Clinton School District.
And then there's probably a lot of other kids and family members who are in the early stages who may only have a mild cold type symptom.
The symptoms progress into sneezing, fever, and after 1 to 2 weeks, severe coughing. Dr. Wheeler says antibiotics can help prevent the spread of the disease, but it does not soothe the coughing.
And it can be very dramatic to the point of people vomiting.
Wheeler advises if you have any symptoms, first see your doctor. Secondly, those around you should get a booster shot, even adults and pregnant women.
But the duration of the effect is less than we used to think it was.
Typically, children receive the shot before kindergarten, but Wheeler says it wears off between the ages of 10 to 12.
I'm absolutely certain in the situation in Clinton that these booster immunizations will clearly heighten the children's resistance.
Nurse Rice is also keeping a close eye. The Pulaski County Special School District does not have any reported cases, and she plans to keep it that way.
We push our vaccinations and make sure our kids are vaccinated.
Again, we did contact the Clinton School District for a statement about how officials are handling the cases, and they have not responded. Liz.
All right, Pam, thank you. The most vulnerable to this disease, infants. Dr. Wheeler says the coughing can cause pneumonia and rib fractures.
Community members met in Jacksonville tonight to discuss their plans moving forward to form their own school district. Education Corps says the proposed Jacksonville North Pulaski School District would help stem the steady decline in enrollment and address school needs much quicker. Daniel Gray is Education Corps spokesperson and says splitting from Pulaski County would be beneficial for both of them.
They would be more financially stable. We would be able to address our facilities needs out here. There's great needs to improve the facilities to stop declining enrollment.
Gray says addressing their facilities a top priority. He adds a feasibility study is ongoing and hopes to have it updated in December to submit to the state. An election could follow the study within a year. The Little Rock Education Association reaching a tentative agreement with the school district over pay raises and increases in health care contributions. Kathy Kohler is the president of the Education Association, says she's proud of the effort put into this.
It's a great example of the collaboration that has been going on in Little Rock School District between the administration, the school board, and the employees. We're proud of it, and we're proud of putting children first.
The agreement now goes back to the school board to be ratified Thursday. The health core contribution kicks in December 1st, and raises will appear on the December 1st or 15th check.
Well, some residents living near Arkansas Baptist College say campus leaders are not doing enough to stop students from causing trouble in the neighborhood.
Although these concerns have been raised at several community meetings, the problems continue to persist.
Folks spoke out at another community meeting tonight. Concerns center around student loitering in the streets off campus and making loud noises at night.
College President Fitzhill says plans are in the works to improve security with more police patrols near school and extra campus monitors to watch the loitering. But Hill admits there's more work to be done.
We haven't been able to do all the things we wanted to do. Now with our new leadership team, we want to be more effective in addressing the concerns of our community.
Hill says going forward, the college plans to hold focus groups with neighbors and collaborate on more ways to end residents' concerns. And you may recall in late September, an Arkansas Baptist football player was shot to death near campus.
Well, construction work could soon be underway on the Bass Pro Shop in Little Rock. Developer Tommy Hodges told THV 11 News today they're about halfway through their work on the site. He says the bidding process for construction underway and that they hope to break ground in a couple of weeks. Construction is expected to be complete late next year. Further west on Interstate 30, another major retail development could be on the way. There's a sign just after the Haskell exit promoting the Benton Town Center. Mayor David Mattingly says a Dallas developer has signed an agreement with the landowner to recruit stores for the first phase of the project, which will take place over the next year. Mattingly says there are still a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross, but he gave us an idea of what the developer has in mind.
Some of the main ones they're talking to is like Michael's, the gift and craft company, J.C. Penney's, Dick's Sporting Goods. And then, of course, around all that, you would have the typical restaurants.
The mayor also said this is the same developer behind the Shackleford Crossings in West Little Rock. As for the proposed Benton development, Mattingly says it will probably be early next summer before we know if the first phase is a go.
Still ahead on the THV 11 News, the man who accused the Elmo puppeteer of having sex with him as a teen, recanting his claims.
Plus, some Democrats playing hardball over the fiscal cliff, threatening to let your tax cuts expire just to make a point. Hear what the White House says about their proposal.
You know, not a lot has changed since last night. Still looking at temperatures near freezing. We'll have the details, the icy details, coming up next.
You're watching The Difference. 11 on 11, the THV 10 o'clock difference.
Ed's going to want us to talk about the sweater vest, but I think it's best to just move on to the weather and get past the fashion statement.
I've never seen you wear a sweater vest.
Well, yeah, Craig, we haven't seen you wear a sweater vest. Can you rock a sweater vest like I can?
There's a restraining order against me wearing a sweater vest.
In my opinion, there should be a restraining order against all sweater vests. But Tom Brannon started this thing. Our morning guy's thinking, okay, let's have Sweater Vest Awareness Day every Tuesday. I don't know where he's coming up with this. I'm thinking, hey, my, okay, this is the best I can try. And I don't know, it's probably really old, but Tom, I don't know. We'll have to compare sweater vests, all right? See what happens next Tuesday. Craig says Leisure Suit Awareness Week is coming up very soon.
LaSalle.
All right. It's a very cold evening over the weather garden tonight. Kind of an icy sky at night. But you know what? No ice. No troubles. No aurora borealis. Nothing like that anyway. Look at these pictures, though, sent in to me. This is from Keith Osborne from North Little Rock. You see the fog over the river? Radiational fog. Very, very cool. And beautiful fall colors with the fog there over the river. Thank you so much, Keith, for sending these to me. Take a look at this one. Again, if you look way off in the distance, you might be able to see the Little Rock skyline. Okay, not on this one, but you can see the fog, radiational cooling as the water is warmer than the air above it. And look at the pelicans out on the Arkansas River. Just a beautiful shot from North Little Rock. Keith Osborne, thank you so much for sending those to me. And I'm getting a lot of great pictures of the fall colors. A very cold start to the day. Most of the state now has seen their first freeze. Little Rock this morning finally saw freezing weather. But of course, other places have been much colder than that. Mammoth Spring State Park, 21 this morning. Evening Shade, 22. Waldron, 23 out in western Arkansas. Mountain View, 25. Prescott, southwest Arkansas, 26 degrees. Again, our first freeze of the season. Our last freeze was February 20th. That's a long growing season. That's the 10th longest growing season since we've been keeping records. So, you know, we needed a freeze, I guess you could say. 55 was our high. North Little Rock, though, has not frozen yet. 35, at least I don't think they have. 35 the morning low today. 41 currently. Dew point's at 33. Just like we were last night, we're approaching that freezing mark. Humidity, though, kind of high at 73%. The winds are calm. Around the state, 34 Russellville, 34 Searcy, already 40 in Jonesboro, 36 in Batesville. 33 in Arkadelphia and 39 in Malvern and Benton, 39 in England, 40 in Whitehall. Today, computer models suggested we would be in the upper 50s. I didn't quite believe them, so I went a degree cooler, 56, and ended up being 55, so not too far off there. Tomorrow, maybe a couple of degrees higher, and I think I'll buy that. I'll think 58 tomorrow. So 33 tonight, that's at the airport. Lots of folks, again, around Little Rock are going to see freezing weather tonight. 32, 31 will be common. A very light freeze again expected. But tomorrow's high, 58, with sunshine, very cool. And we gradually warm up toward the weekend. But temperatures, guys, still below normal. Back to you.
Thank you, Ed.
Well, just ahead, the fight over your tax cuts getting ready to take center stage in our nation's capital.
Plus, could there be more problems for water levels along the mighty Mississippi? We'll tell you why some officials say they're worried.
Today's THV is sponsored by Arkansas Federal Credit Union.
Making national news, Congress has returned from break with a long list of unfinished business.
And looming large, the fiscal cliff. President Barack Obama and Congress have until January to reach a deal on cutting the deficit or automatic tax increases and spending cuts kick in.
Republicans want to extend tax cuts for all Americans, but Democrats want to raise taxes on those making $250,000 a year or more. And some Democrats are now even suggesting they do nothing and force Republicans to bargain after the tax cuts expire.
The White House says it doesn't agree with that approach. The top U.S. commander in Afghanistan has been drawn into the investigation that led CIA Director David Petraeus to resign after admitting to an extramarital affair.
Senior defense officials say they've read exchanges between General John Allen and socialite Jill Kelly and found no sexually explicit or seductive emails. Kelly reportedly received threatening emails from Paula Broadwell, with whom Petraeus had an affair.
Allen's nomination to become NATO's Supreme Allied Commander has been put on hold pending the outcome of the investigation.
Well, the man who accused Elmo puppeteer Kevin Clash of having sex with him as a teenager, changing his story.
The accuser is now saying he was an adult when he had a consensual sexual relationship with Clash. Clash issued a statement today saying he is relieved the painful allegations have been put to rest.
The man has not been identified. Clash took a leave of absence yesterday from Sesame Workshop after the allegations surfaced, but denied the charges.
Water levels along the drought-stricken Mississippi River could get worse.
The Army Corps of Engineers says it's moving forward with a plan to reduce flow from an upper Missouri River reservoir. They're planning to cut the flow from the South Dakota Dam by 40% later this month.
Less water from the Missouri would lower the Mississippi's pool, and Missouri Governor Jay Nixon and Barge Industry Trade Group are worried it could halt barge traffic down the river. Corps officials say they'll work to keep the Mississippi River open by dredging and removing rocks.
Rescuers have finally reached two snowboarders stranded on Mount Rainier in Washington State. The 20 and 21-year-old men spent 2 nights stuck on the mountain after becoming lost during a snowstorm Sunday.
Park officials say the duo had winter gear, smartphones, and a compass, but no overnight gear. They made it through Monday night by building a snow cave.
Still no word on their conditions tonight.
Mark Edwards joins us. Up next on the schedule, Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Get your cowbell ready.
Yeah, those Cowboys. We got one in the office.
I know, I saw it. Should I go get it?
No.
No, okay.
No. Razorbacks will have to deal with the cowbells enough this weekend. We actually have a formula on how they can win. It's coming up next. Stick around. All right, up next on the schedule, Mississippi State. Now, the good news is they've lost 3 in a row.
All right.
The good news for us is Michael Smith has figured out what the Hogs need to do to get the win, and it's all in the math.
Okay.
Just in case you're wondering.
Fun fact for you football fanatics, in Mississippi State's last 4 SEC games, they've allowed 30-plus points to their opponent, in which they've dropped 3 of those last 4 games. So it seems like the magical number for the Bulldogs would be 30 points. If that is so, what is it that Arkansas needs to do to eclipse that number?
Really, the thing is, you just got to show up and play Arkansas football. You know, we can move the ball on anybody. You know, it's not really, you know, who's out there against this plan. It's just doing the things that we're coached to do, and in the critical times that it kind of needs to be done. You know, like I said, since day one, you know, we've been moving the ball. We haven't had any problems. We just got to, you know, do the critical things in critical situations.
Every year it's a new team. You got to change your game plan every single year. With every team you face, you can't take the same one over. So, you know, we're going to change some things up.
You know, it's just execution. You know, it's kind of like beating anybody. If you execute well, then you got a great chance to win, and you got to execute the whole way down the field. And so that's something we got to make sure that we go out and do this week.
Arkansas has a history of playing well against Mississippi State, but this is a new Bulldogs team, so expect for the Razorbacks to pull out everything they have this Saturday to get a win down in Starkville. In Fayetteville, Michael Smith, THV 11 Sports.
Love the way IE pauses there. Hey, fresh off completing their program's first ever undefeated regular season, the GAC champs, Henderson State University, dominated the league's all GAC teams, swept the league's yearly awards. Let me tell you how. Chew on this. Kevin Rogers, unanimous Offensive Player of the Year. Linebacker Maxie Graham, unanimous Defensive Player of the Year. Craig, fellow linebacker Tim Llewellyn earned Freshman of the Year for the Reddies, and head coach Scott Maxfield received Coach of the Year. He also got more votes than Obama did, and he officially now has Florida. That's what I'm told. Overall, the Reddies placed 10 players on the first team, 4 on the second team, 4 for honorable mention. Harding also had 7. The first team had 15 total representatives for the GAC. Now, what does that mean for both of those teams? Well, with Henderson State's 42-7 victory over OBU in the Southern Bancorp Battle of the Ravine this past Saturday, the Reddies moved up to number 6 in the American Football Coaches Association poll. HSU earned a spot in the NCAA Division II football playoffs for the first time in school history, and with the Reddies receiving an opening round bye. Now, the Reddies will play host to the winner of the number 3 seed Missouri Western State or number 6 seed Minnesota Duluth on Saturday, November 24th, Carpenter Haygood Stadium, kickoff set for noon. As for Harding, yeah, we had to throw them in there. Good job for Harding. They also got a playoff. Ranked number 12 in the AFCA Coaches Poll, the 6th straight week. Harding's been ranked, and the number 12 ranking is the highest since the Bisons joined the NCAA back in 1997. Harding moved up 2 spots after their 38-7 win over Southwestern Oklahoma State on Saturday in Searcy. The Bisons will play Northwest Missouri State first round of the playoffs. Gotta say congratulations.
What about high school?
Hey, well, as for the playoffs, it is. High school playoffs continue, and of course the field gets thin. Not a lot of games going on around Central Arkansas this week. But the one that is a big one, and it's our THV Showcase Game of the Week. Cabot and North Little Rock. North Little Rock won the first game this year when they faced 33-14. But that's why they played the game. Cabot riding a 3-game winning streak after upsetting Bryant 28-21 on the road last week, 3 yards on a cloud of dust. Who said you can't win games like that?
That's what I'm saying.
It's our THV Showcase Game of the Week. Remember, loser starts basketball season early.
Ooh, don't bet against Mike Milham in a rematch. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Thank you, Mark. We'll be right back.
Mark Edwards has something he'd like to share with us, but he won't tell us what it is. Maybe he'll share it with you.
Before we go, I have to say this. Right. Congratulations to Devon McClure, former 4th-round pick of the Indians, former Jacksonville all-sport player. Today, he made a big donation to Jacksonville, donated monies. He's playing pro ball now. Donated money to get shoes and brand new baseball equipment to Jacksonville.
Great!
Wow. Jacksonville High?
Go.
Yes.
That's where you went.
Yeah.
Yes.
What were you were like the cheerleader person?
No, I was the drill team captain.
What did she do, Craig? What did she
Made sure everything was spelled exactly right across the field.
Number 1 in state.
Okay. Tonight, 33 degrees. Tomorrow, about 58 with sunshine.
Why don't you say
I had
it,
to
Craig?
move back then, kinda.
Remember this. The news is always on today's THV.com.
Say what you said earlier,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you.
Good night.
Red Devils. Is that what you were?
Thanks for watching Arkansas's news and information leader. Connect to today's THV news and weather 24/7 at today'sthv.com and on your mobile device.